Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Hope your day is going great as mine is. So I'm here again, and today we'll be diving into 2 Samuel 18. The last time I was here was 2 Samuel 16, where Absalom did the unthinkable. He slept with his father's concubines. So the preceding chapter is 2 Samuel 17, where he sought Ahithophel and Hushai's advice on the next step to take. He wants them to go on a battle to fight his father. And he didn't take Ahithophel's advice. He went with Hushai. And when Ahithophel heard what he did, he hung himself. Yeah, that was King David's counselor. I think the reason why he hung himself was likely due to disgrace and perceived failure of not being able to give a better advice. So we're diving into 2 Samuel 18 today, where they went to fight the battle. So let's dive right into it. As always, I'm just going to read snippets. So when David heard that his son's troops were coming, he gathered his troops together for war. He was advised to stay back and not to go with them to war because since he's the target, he may be killed. So let's start from there. So he told his troops, I myself will surely march out with you, when he was advised to stay back. But the men said, you must not go out. If we are forced to flee, they won't care about us. Even if half of us die, they won't care. But you are worth 10,000 of us. It will be better now for you to give us support from the city. So they asked him, like I mentioned earlier on, to stay back because he may be killed. The king answered, I will do whatever seems best to you. So the king stood beside the gate while all the men marched out in units of hundreds and thousands. The king commanded Joab, Abishai, and Ittai, be gentle with the young man Absalom for my sake. That's Absalom, his son, that is heading to attack him. And David said they should be gentle with him. Can you beat that? A father's love never dies. I don't know if he heard about what he did to his wives, but here he's saying that they should be careful with him. He didn't want him killed. Wow. And all the troops heard the king giving orders concerning Absalom to each of the commanders. The army marched into the field to fight Israel, and the battle took place in the forest of Ephraim. There the army of the Israel was defeated by David's men, and the casualties that day were great, 20,000 men. The battle spread out over the whole countryside, and the forest claimed more lives that day than the sword. Now Absalom happened to meet David's men. He was riding his mule, and as the mule went under the thick branches of a large oak, Absalom's head got caught in the tree. He was left hanging in midair, while the mule he was riding kept on going. When one of the men saw this, he told Joab, I just saw Absalom hanging in the oak tree. Joab said to the man who had told him this, what? You saw him? Why didn't you strike him to the ground right there? Then I would have had to give you 10 shekels of silver and a warrior's belt. But the man replied, even if 1,000 shekels were weighed out into my hands, I would not lift my hand against the king's son. In our hearing, the king commanded you and Abishai and Ittai, protect the young man Absalom for my sake. Yes. David said they should protect him, but Joab wanted to take law into his hands. Remember Joab, he was the one that used a wise woman to persuade King David to have Absalom back after Absalom killed his brother Amnon for doing the unthinkable to their sister. Okay, so now Joab wants Absalom killed. And then he continued, if I put my life in jeopardy and nothing is hidden from the king, you would have kept your distance from me. Joab said, I am not going to wait like this for you. So he took 3 javelins in his hand and plunged them into Absalom's heart, while Absalom was still alive in the oak tree. And 10 of Joab's armor-bearers surrounded Absalom, struck him, and killed him. Wow. So the news got to David, and David actually mourned his son. He couldn't believe what happened, that after he gave them warning, his son was killed. So as always, let's take a look at my 2 key lessons I have for you. Okay, number 1, disobedience to godly authority brings destruction. Absalom's rebellion against David led him to his downfall, showing that rejecting God's established order brings consequences. Yes, it does. Just as Absalom's pride and defiance led to his death, we should be mindful that rebellion against God's will ultimately leads to destruction. Instead, we are called to humility, obedience, and seeking God's direction in our lives. When we rebel against God's will, it will definitely bring destruction. And that was what happened to Absalom. He did the unthinkable. He came back from exile and he thought he could take over his father's throne. He wasn't obedient. He let pride get into his head. This destroyed him. Number 2, the pain of personal loss, even in victory. David's deep sorrow over Absalom's death reminds us that personal relationships often carry more weight than earthly success. His grief teaches that love and forgiveness should be prioritized over conflict. No matter how far someone has strayed, our hearts should remain open to reconciliation, just as God desires to restore us when we turn back to Him. A father's love never dies. He grieved his son. Love and forgiveness should be prioritized over conflict. If we find ourselves in such situation, we should remember that love conquers all, and God wants us to forgive. As much as his son was against him, David still had it in his heart to forgive his son, and also, not just to forgive, he also grieved his child. I remember reading here, he said, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you. Oh, Absalom, my son, my son." He kept on repeating that because he's lost a child. So as parents, our love for our children never dies. Love and forgiveness should be prioritized over conflict. Let us always remember that. No matter how far someone has strayed, our hearts should remain open to reconciliation. May our hearts be always open to reconciliation. I don't know, whatever it could be. No matter how grave the situation may be, if God can forgive us at a snap of his finger, when we genuinely go to him for forgiveness, we should also be able to forgive. It's hard because I've been there and I know how it is, what it feels like if someone hurts you and it's hard for you to forgive that person. But because of God's grace, God is patient. He will wait. But don't wait for too long because it's not healthy. I know what I'm saying because it's my experience. So please remember to forgive. And I pray that God will help you during that process because I know it's not easy. So with that, I'm going to end today's time with God. Take care for now. See you next time. God bless. Bye.